call this meeting to order. Thanks for being here. It is Tuesday, July 14th, 6 p.m. So if we'd start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. We'll get that going. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Roll call, Al, all members are here.
All present.
All present. We did one change, you're gonna call that?
Want me to turn down the light?
Is that a change or
We have an addition.
addition?
I don't see our addition here yet, but we have one addition. Nels is running for the Carlin Nelson's Senate seat,
Yep.
state Senate seat.
Minnesota State District 24.
Right.
Well, we'll
And
leave it open, and if he pops in, we'll give him some time.
that would be the only thing.
And that would be under 4.0, basically, just in front of 4.1 when we get to that one.
4.1, correct.
Okay, with that, we'll move down to the, approve the agenda. With the
Yes.
one-
Second.
Okay, got a first, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda's approved with the one change. Consent agenda items, like always, I'll read them off. Make sure my mics, I'll read them all off, and then we'll approve them all at the end. The first one is council meeting, June 9th. BDA meeting, May 19th. Approve after payment for $277,528 and change. We have a warrant list for $541,194.09. 3.5 is food and beverage catering license, Chip Shots. I'm guessing it's for the pickleball, right? Okay. Change order for the fire hall for $15,433. And then fire hall addition pay request, Brennan Construction of Minnesota, $176,798. And we have 10th Avenue and 4th Street roundabout pay request, Rochester Sand and Gravel for $188,210. And pickleball court payment request for Winona Mechanical at $43,490. And then Good Neighbors Day approval, the parade, I hope it's approved, because it's right around the corner. And then the 5K, so none of those should be any issue, so need a motion to approve the consent.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Seconded.
Okay, we got a first, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent approved. We're moving on down to the communication reports, and like we said, is it Nels?
Nels Pearson.
Okay, not here yet, but we'll try to slide them in. And then the incidents. Hey. Nothing else? No. Nope.
Good evening.
Last month, we had 224 calls for service, 40% of those were proactive. As usual, highest. That was the highest call quantity that we had. There weren't any major incidents that required you guys' attention. The biggest thing is the scooters, e-bikes, and things like that. We've had our whole patrols kind of keep an eye out for traffic, similar to what the city is putting out. Something like that. That is on everybody's attention list, so. That's all I've got for you guys. Do you have any questions or?
Nothing, but maybe during the discussion, we may have some questions that would come up from our ordinance discussion, so. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next is our community newsletter. We got Miss Erica there. She attended me with the Midwest Access, so we were there, teamed up on there, had a 5-minute segment there, talking over the Good Neighbors Day and the concert series, so I think that was her first television interview. So,
Very cool.
pretty good. She was excited about that. And then that's everything else. And then again, we're talking about the upcoming events, the Good Neighbors Day, the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. So big week ahead of us. Okay.
Mayor,
We have 4.0 here.
Nels Pearson is here if
Okay.
he's ready to visit with us.
You may come up to the mic, name, and we'll listen to you.
Sure. Yeah, and appreciate just the quick audience. I try not to campaign too hard in an open public forum like this with nonpartisan folks, but I am a candidate running for the Minnesota State Senate, and I've just made a habit of trying to introduce myself to all the constituencies that are within the legislative district of Senate District 24. And by way of introduction, I just always talk about growing up on a dairy farm in a town called Butterfield. So I'm not afraid of a little hard work. Tonight we'd be milking cows in this type of heat, and those memories are not all fond, but as the Dodge County Fair ramps up, we're excited to watch and get back to the barns and see how all those folks are progressing in Dodge County. But as you may be aware, our Senator Carla Nelson is not running for re-election. She made that announcement rather late in the legislative session. In fact, the political party had already endorsed her and gone through that process in anticipation that she was running. And so one afternoon I'm at work in May, and suddenly I'm getting voice messages from the county party chair, the president of the state senate, and our congressman, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And suddenly my wife texted me a message that Carla had made this announcement, and I realized my summer plans were probably all going to change. So we've switched gears and gotten a campaign up and running. And we've been attending, I think we're probably close to a dozen of the township or city council meetings that are in the jurisdiction at this point. We hope to actually get to 2 more tonight as well. So we're excited for the opportunity. I've not represented Byron in the past, so I'm really excited to get to know my neighbors over here in Byron. I happen to live in Rochester Township, so nearby, but not quite in your jurisdiction. And historically, I represented 14 of the 18 townships in Olmsted County. Now I remember Kalmar, right, is the township around Byron. Kalmar was not one of my 14, so it was one of 4 I did not represent. But I did represent a lot of the rural area for 8 years. I represented 14 of the 18 townships. I know a lot of the issues that those folks are dealing with, and I'm getting up to speed on how that's changed in the last 4 years. You might recall in 2022, redistricting occurred, of course, following the census. And when that redistricting occurred, out of those 14 townships, I was only left with the 1 township I lived in. I lost 13 of my 14 townships, and I was drawn in the city limits with Representative Tina Liebling. So not exactly a friendly territory or people that were familiar with me. So at that time, I did not run in 22 or 24. And with this announcement now, that brings in most of my old jurisdiction is back into this Senate seat. So I'm excited to reacquaint myself with my neighbors in Senate District 24. And I think it's a good fit. The number one thing that I think I have always been a good person in this realm is just being a good listener. So giving speeches isn't my forte. I feel comfortable behind a mic, but I do like listening to people. And when asked to come to your meetings, will do everything I can to make it. I don't want to be the guy that's taking up time in your agenda consistently. Although when I did run in the House, I vowed to those townships that I would show up at least once per year. And I did that in all 14 townships for 8 years straight. So if you do the math on that, and then you add up all the city council races, my wife never thought it sounded like much until we were in the thick of it and doing it. You know, it's like you're never home because between the legislature and being at those meetings, it was quite a commitment of time. So this time around, what I'm asking, if I'm so fortunate to be elected to represent Byron, is that I don't necessarily have to bother you every year, if that's how you might view it. But if there is a legislative issue or a topic that's pertinent, that the state is impacting your budget or your citizens, it would be those situations that I would, kind of plead with you that you'd reach out to me and ask that I be in attendance. Actually, shorter drive here than virtually any of my other townships or anything like that. So happy to arrive and listen to those conversations, or have those conversations. And my contact information, my website's so easy to remember because it's just nels.com. I'm going to hand these out if that's okay.
Yeah.
There's such a formality to your dais, excuse me, I said it wrong. That I just, it's like, can I approach the bench type of thing.
Yeah, go
But, my website's just nels.com, and my email address is just nels@nels.com.
Yeah, and we didn't see Carla a lot, but when she thought something was important, she would reach out to
Yeah.
get on the agenda, so we're okay with that. Thank you. We don't want to be blindsided if you got something.
No, I know we got a road project that we're thinking about, that we might be bothering you about in the future if elected, so.
That's usually what she came to talk to us about.
Yes.
Oh, that's
A lack of movement on it. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any questions?
To which townships first? Hayfield Township or Claremont Township? We got both of them tonight, so.
Well, good luck, drive safe, thank you.
Good luck. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we had one public hearing today. It's on 5.1, repeal and replace the city code chapter 73, so we're okay with that? Motion to open the public.
I move that we open the public hearing on repeal and replace of City Code Chapter 73 toy vehicles.
Second.
Okay, we got a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed, so at 6:12, the public hearing is open. I think if Al can give us an overview first before we ask for public comments?
I'll give a very brief, we took city ordinance, chapter 73, toy vehicles. It seemed like the most appropriate chapter to add this to. We did a couple of things, primarily redefined toy vehicles from roller skates, rollerblades, skateboards, roller skis, added scooters, e-bikes, and e-motos to that, as far as definitions. And moving through here, we simply added those e-vehicles to our toy vehicle language. And it basically follows the state code. And we just took what the state has in place, put it into our language, and followed that throughout.
And you also
Anybody under
researched some
8,
other cities too that had them in place as
we
well.
have
They did a
researched
good
several.
job of looking it all up, yes. you
We've
did.
looked at several communities, we've followed what we could as closely as possible. Again, the goal was to stay within the state code and what they had put into place, but we are not allowed to fully implement the state code unless we adopt it under city ordinance, which gives us local jurisdiction for the same language that we have in the state code. And the important parts of that, it differentiates the different size of electric motors. There's different types of e-bikes, those that have pedal assist and those that have throttle assist. And it defines the difference between those two. E-motos are restricted from our sidewalks and trails and are required to be on the street because of their speed, their size, and what have you. But that also means that they're required to be licensed, insured as a, quote, a motorcycle might be. State code currently requires that anybody under the age of 18 on an e-moto, e-scooter, e-bike wear a helmet.
Maybe a
there-
change because not many, well, not
Those are
many-
e-motos, that's different than the,
What's that?
oh, sorry.
I believe that their scooters are also
Scooters,
required to
yeah.
have helmets.
Under the 18 as well.
But the e-moto is what's on the street, I mean, for licensing. In addition, I think again, the size of that electric motor is significant in the state code. And we've tried to capture that here, is to follow the rules of the road, wear a helmet, one passenger per device or vehicle, not doubling up. And I know that that's been a common issue that we've seen around here is, two people on a bike or two people on a scooter. And state code prohibits that. So this allows us to enforce it at the local level versus under state law. The one question that has been raised, and I want to bring this up, acknowledge it right away in my effort to capture the state code. Changing the definitions was the easy part. Bicycles got caught up in this, and I want to acknowledge that because bicycles fall under our toy vehicle ordinance, and state law carries the bicycles under the same sections of code, but they have a very specific bicycle equipment statute, which Councilman Cook was kind enough to point out to me without slapping me real hard. But 169.222 subsection 6 is very specific about bicycle equipment to ride after dark, to paraphrase. And so I want to be upfront and suggest that if you are going to consider this, I would like it to be amended under subsection D of 7301, where it addresses no operation after dark, and simply add the language that bicycles will adhere to State Code 169.222 subsection 6, which permits bicycles to be ridden after dark under certain provisions. Certain types of lights, reflectors, they do a nice job, but instead of trying to enumerate the whole thing, I think we just reference it in that section.
So I would recommend not actually specifying the state statute, because state statutes change as far as the reference one, unless you were ready to actually check that on a yearly basis, because I get caught with that when I do specs for my full-time job, and I reference state standards, or state statutes. Every time I issue it again, I have to check to make sure they haven't changed, and they do get rescinded without anybody knowing, or changed as far as location without anybody knowing. So I think you'd be better off putting something more along, in there, except as allowed under state statute. So you leave it general, so that somebody has to actually look at the state statute, and it does have to do with lighting in the front and either lighting in the back and/or reflectors on the pedals and some other stuff, so.
That makes it more flexible if the statute
Well, because
changes.
then if they move the statute around
Or
or the
the
state
number
changes
or
the
the- okay.
statute, we're not having to.
Come back and do this again.
We're not having to catch it, or we're gonna be out of date. It's not the biggest deal if we're out of date, it's just one more thing that,
Well, I accept that. I just wanted to be upfront and accept responsibility for that oversight. It was not our intent to preclude bicycles from riding after dusk. But I want to be very specific about that. The e-scooters, e-motos, and e-bikes, I mean, e-bikes are going to get caught up in that gray area between bikes and e-bikes, but they're a bike. So they're going to fall under bicycle
Bicycle.
equipment,
Yep.
having the lights, the reflectors, et cetera.
Yep.
But I don't want scooters saying, well, we can do it. I mean, that isn't the purpose, and nor would it be the intent of this suggested ordinance amendment.
Does the state statute say that e-scooters can't ride before?
it's moot on scooters. It specifically addresses bicycles.
So,
It
so
specifically
we're still
said-
wanting to, are we just saying then all the vehicles can ride?
No, we're
the
saying that,
lights.
we're saying that nothing can be on after dark with the exception
Okay.
of bicycles, meetings with lighting, meeting the state statute. E-bikes, I think are a gray area, but I would say that unless they're a real problem, as long as they have lighting, that meets the state statute, they're a bike.
And that's the point I wanted to make is e-bikes
Our
cross
gray area.
over.
Yeah.
And I think that's a gray area, but I treat it like a bike because it is
Yep. I've seen
defined
a
as
lot
an
of e-bikes
e-bike.
nowadays with the lights front and back as well, too, so that's coming out as well, so.
So are we, sorry, just so I'm, understand here, for the e-scooters, if they have lights front, back, they can operate at dark?
E-scooters are prohibited from operating after dusk and before dawn,
And that's following state?
yes.
Okay.
That's the
But our language is very closely aligned, I don't want to say word for word out of the state code, but it follows the state code.
There's a carve out for bicycles, and I suspect it's because there are a fair amount of people that have used bicycles for transportation to and from work, you know?
Sure.
And so if you can't, especially in the wintertime, sun up to sundown is a pretty short time period. So, yeah, so I mean, there's a carve out in this, specifically in the state statute for bicycles and e-bikes. It's not there for scooters, it's not there for anything else.
And I know that's one of the things that was brought up by one of the members of our community too, was that part of the ordinance.
That night?
So,
And this,
And I will say that bicycles typically, I mean, we know that there's little kids on bicycles and stuff like that, but at least they sit up a little higher if they have the lighting. I mean, some of the scooters and stuff, they're so low. I mean, where are they gonna mount the lighting on the back? I mean, it's gonna be
by the-
really low, it's gonna,
By the
tire,
tire.
right? Yeah.
yeah,
Right by the tire. And then they have like glow underneath it.
it doesn't
so,
And other
provide the
helmets.
safety. It doesn't
Daniels.
provide the,
right, I want to point out that we are
don't know, I could
not
argue.
modifying the city's stance on scooters specifically in the city code, because the part that we took out included scooters not allowed to ride after dusk or before dawn. That's already existing today. Whether you take action tonight or not, scooters are not allowed after dark, period.
Got it.
Anybody from the community? Or do we want to, do we discuss more, do we discuss more in the resolution?
yeah, we can discuss after when we
I-
get done, so I mean,
We just
we'll see
wanted
if
to
there's
get
any
it set
public.
up so
Yep.
the
Yep.
public knows what we're dealing with.
I just wanted to give you a brief,
Yes.
this is what we're trying to do, and
Yep. We still have all the public comments and everything, and then we can close it, we can close the public hearing, and then we can talk about it some more.
And
Okay.
we can still ask questions after that?
Yes?
Yes, we
Yep.
can.
All right.
only other
Fair motion.
The only other piece that I want to draw your attention to is we have provided for civil penalties in a separate resolution in the fee schedule. It is not built into our ordinance, as is the case with all of our ordinances. We direct them to a different place. So there is a penalty specific to these violations, but it is addressed in our fee schedule, not in the
I
ordinance.
saw that in there, 3 of them.
Yep.
Okay. All right, now we're open up to public, so I'll call out the public 3 times, and if you want anything to say about this resolution, please come to the microphone, state your name and what your concerns are, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Scott Gifford. I talked to Justin this morning just to give him a heads up on some of the concerns I had, which I think you addressed. One of them was the bicycle ban after dark. I'm one of those individuals that's crazy enough to ride to work Rochester from here in Byron quite frequently. So, and there were a number of issues in there, obviously, because of state preemption. They've already defined what a bicycle is. They've already carved out that it has the same exact rights as a vehicle. So, you know, anything you guys would try and do to ban it would obviously not be allowed. I do want to highlight a couple other things, though. Some of the specific pieces you put in there were things like must stay to the right side of the lane, and both for scooters and for bicycles. And in the state law, you know that, or you should know that you can take a lane as a bicycle when you need to for your own safety. So like when I come out on County Road 5, I take the lane when I go across and jump up 52 and then get out on the back road to Rochester, because for my safety, I need to do that. You might want to think about that with scooters as well, because you have kids who are going to be sitting there on the right-hand side in a vehicle, and I want to go over there. And so if they're trying to go from the right lane, you're going to have exactly what's happening right now, which is kids turning in front of cars quite rapidly and randomly to go to different places they want to go to. So I don't know how you're going to handle that, but just an observation of, I told Justin, I ride about 4,000 miles every summer on my bicycles. So I see a lot of this stuff happening, and you're going to run into some of these issues no matter what you do. The lighting thing is important as well. You also have a provision in there that e-bikes have to have lights on during the day. That's actually not state law, so you're going to run afoul of that in that particular one as well. The other issue that I talked about, which I thought was a couple issues that were interesting, was you were setting a speed limit for e-bikes on the trail. So I ride both e-bikes when my knee's acting up, when I have injections and that kind of stuff. When it's fine, I ride a regular bike. I can go just as fast on a regular bike as I can on any bike. So on a trail, if I go over 15 miles an hour on my regular bike, you're not going to do anything to me at all, according to that statute that you want to implement. But if I'm on an e-bike, you're going to ticket me. So again, it seems a little nonsensical. You should either do both or something along those lines. So again, it's just something that I picked up on. The other piece in here that was a little concerning was the prior permission to enter somebody's property with one of these items. You probably all paid attention, or most people paid attention to the recent Supreme Court case. The Second Amendment case in Hawaii had two components to it, and that was one of the components, and that component was actually struck down under the 14th Amendment. So you might want to look at that one as well, because it was an undue burden to have to get permission to do things that normally you would have a right to do. So again, it was something unusual that you put in the statute. So,
Would you give me an example of,
so you had in there, let me see,
That was actually part of our original.
73.03F.
yeah,
73.03F, where you require permission in advance to bring or use one of these toy items on someone else's property. You actually already have a remedy in place. You can call the sheriff's office and say, I don't want this person using this on my property, and trespass them, and I think I'm correct in that, if you don't want them doing that activity there. So it seems like you're trying to put an additional burden on, and I'm not sure why, and why you would tell me with my property what I can and can't do. So I just thought that was an interesting take on something in an ordinance like this. So other than that, I see what kids are doing on these scooters every day. It's nuts. The pocket bikes are a problem, particularly on my street. I live down just past the intermediate school. Kids are racing up and down there with the electric ones, and that, I get it, totally get it. I'm just trying to help you make a little bit better decision on the wording and some of the things that you're covering in here, and obviously to exclude the things that you're not allowed to exclude. So that's really all I had to say.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Just a suggestion, next time you want to do an ordinance like this, you might want to put a call out to say anybody in the community have an interest in this or expertise in this, and help us write this statute too. You'd get community members that would step up and help you do it, so you wouldn't have to go through and do a whole bunch of revisions too. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other public comments? Once, public comments twice? One more time for public comment, 3 times, nothing, okay. Motion to close the public session.
So moved. Second.
We got a first, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing closed, 6:29. So, a lot of things to think there. What does the council think on there? Is there a lot of items we have to revisit, or can we change a few things and still pass the ordinance, or do we have to rerun it and come back? That's what I'm asking.
So I mean, we've kind of already talked about the lighting issue.
Okay?
I do kind of agree with his comments on the speed, because how do we assign a speed limit for an e-bike and not for a pedal bike? So maybe it's a speed for everything, and I don't know how that's gonna get enforced.
very hard to
But I don't think it's gonna be enforced unless it's a problem anyway, because
I don't think, I don't think they're gonna sit there with, you know.
I think he has
and-
other better things to do, but I think
But I
there
think
is-
having, I think having it in the ordinance and educating the public that these are the speed limits on our paths and trails.
And
There's no harm in doing that.
And I agree there's no harm in doing that, and I don't have a problem setting a speed limit on the trails. I think it should be applied across the board, though, because otherwise, he's right. If you're applying it to an e-bike differently than you are to, a normal bicycle, pedal bike, why? I mean, it just, and I missed that one, and, but I do kind of agree with that comment. So, I mean, I think we would have to, we could remove some of the classifications there, and then we just have to decide what, we basically make it 20 miles per hour on everything, or 28 miles an hour, because that's where you have that put in there. I mean, you got a class 3, well, no, that's not that. That's the definition of the thing. Where is the speed?
Are you thinking
C4, C dash, or sub 4.
Are you thinking 15 is too low?
I don't know.
I know when I bike,
I-
I asked my wife this today because she has all the fancy dancy gadgets on her wrists and whatnot when we're out biking, and she says we average about 12 miles per hour, but that's just biking, whether we're on a path or the road. That's kind of what we average, and we're not slow by any means. So we're averaging 12.
So our paths are all multi-use, right?
Yes.
Our paths are multi-use.
So here's my thing. If you're going over 15 miles an hour, you shouldn't be on the path. You should be on the road,
Should be on the road, yeah.
Yeah.
really. I mean, I don't think anybody, I mean, if I'm riding my bike, I'm going 26, 30 miles an hour wide open. I'm not going to be on a path, ever. It's
have too many-
dangerous
we have
for
too
me
many-
as the
yeah.
biker at that point, I think.
Yeah, you have too many places where you have to stop. You're going,
Yeah.
we're missing I'm not missing
mean,
sections now.
I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that the 15 is a good speed for everybody across the board.
Because
Because,
we're forgetting that these are also pedestrian trails as well.
Right.
And studies show that
Yeah.
local speed limits on shared paths with pedestrians and cyclists do decrease the severity of injuries.
Yep.
And if all of this, what we're talking about is in terms of safety, I think you're right.
So I'm fine with that as a speed limit. I'm just saying it does have to be, in my opinion, it should be applied across the board.
Okay.
And I want to address that real briefly. I agree with you. From my experience, most cyclists that are serious enough to exceed 15 miles
They're
an hour.
gonna be out on the
for
road
any
anyway.
They're already on the road.
Yeah.
And so my
Maybe
mind
you
went
set
to
it,
that.
maybe you
so.
set it at 10. I don't know what a good one to set it at. That's the problem. I don't know what
I think
know.
15 gives,
15 is booking, though. When you
15 is
think-
booking.
Yeah, and especially, the problem I think that we have, part of the problem today that we didn't have 10, 15 years ago is prevalent is, and I do the same thing, except I'm using open earbud ones, but everybody's walking and wearing earbuds. Everybody's bicycling wearing earbuds, and even if the whole thing and passing on the left, if they shout it, if they're good enough to shout it, the chances are most people aren't going to hear it because they're wearing
Preoccupied.
something else. And so, I mean, there is some of that too, and that's on everybody. That's not the bicyclist fault or the scooters person. It's just we've taken away that sense of hearing for when we're doing that. So, I mean, maybe it should be only 10 miles an hour. I don't know. I have a suspicion that you spend most of your time out on the road versus the path. So, I mean, I think setting a lower speed limit on a multi-use path is reasonable. So whether that's 10 or something versus 15, I'm okay with either one, and I know we're trying to figure out what we're going to set it at. And I do kind of also, I assume, I mean, the one about not being there other than if you have permission, that was in the old one. I don't even know how you enforce that anyway. It's probably no worse. They're trespassing if they don't have permission anyway, and it's really the private property owner's responsibility to deal with it. So, but I assume it's also, we had complaints in the past from somebody, and they wanted a way to curtail it or whatever, so,
Right, and that was in the previous ordinance too.
Because in reality, unless the property owner complains about it, having it there, the sheriff's not gonna do anything if he sees a group of people on private property anyway. Speaking for the sheriff. He's got other things to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so we dealt with two issues, the speed and,
Well, what I would suggest, based on the conversation I've heard so far, is on subsection subsection C4, speed limit, no person shall operate any device on a city multi-use path or trail at a speed exceeding 10 miles an hour?
I'm fine with 10, which means you gotta make sure that gator's going slower than that when Public Works is driving it.
He's got a point, though. Okay, so, first off, I think we need to use a little bit of common sense here, what's happening today and what we observe out there, right? So let's make sure we're being as safe as possible. I think we need to embrace the fact that e-scooters are here. And we're gonna have to work in ways to make them safer, for sure. The part that I'm seeing Class 1 and Class 2 e-bikes and e-scooters are permitted on these trails. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
And that makes sense
I thought
because
at
if,
first they were only allowed on streets.
No.
Well,
The
states-
e-bikes and e-scooters, with the class 1 and 2, have to do with the size of the electric motor.
Okay.
In the bikes, there's a pedal assist and
Yep.
there's a throttle assist. The
Okay.
pedal assist would be a natural fit on a multi-use trail. The throttle assist would be less appropriate. Because
Okay.
you're less likely to be pedaling, you're more likely to be riding it like a motorcycle or an
turn on the
e-scooter.
sidewalk or the?
Well, no, I'm saying I don't see a definition for Class 1 and 2 for the e-scooter.
I don't think there is.
There is not for an e-scooter, only for e-bikes.
E-bikes, yeah.
Okay. So that to me reads a little funky in here, now that I'm looking at it.
On which section there, Dan?
Well, it's,
It's 73.04, and then it would be A.
so it's a Class 3 e-bike.
Yeah, so they have 3 different classifications for that.
And then you
They
go to-
defined e-scooter it's the different classification. It's not, has anything to do with how fast
Okay,
it can
got
go.
it.
That's-
Okay.
that's-
So
that's
it's
public
Class
sidewalk.
1, Class 2 e-bikes, and all e-scooters are permitted to operate on paved city bicycle paths.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. That's where I was getting thrown off. I thought it was saying Class 1 and 2 e-bikes. Class
And that,
1
and that's,
2
and,
e-scooters.
and actually that is what happened on, when I posted this on Facebook was some kind of confusion about that too, thinking, because they were concerned about their child having to ride County Road 5 on
Yeah.
their scooter all the
Yeah,
way up to the
I
high
am
school.
too.
And I'm
I'm
like,
too.
no, you're able to be on
It makes me feel a
the
lot
bike
better.
path. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then this might be a question for Deputy here. We have 12 years of age shall operate, under 12 years of age, no person can operate an e-scooter.
That's state statute.
That's statute?
It's in the
Okay.
state.
How often do we see kids under 12?
Every day.
Yeah.
3 days ago, a child, 8 years old, in Brooklyn Park was struck by a pickup truck, 8 years old, and
Yeah.
killed on an e-scooter. I mean,
Okay.
there's reasons why we have age limits on
I just didn't know
such
why
things.
12 was chosen versus
Yeah.
like 10.
I
State
think
statute.
that's gonna be the biggest angst out there for the community when that gets, that their 11-year-old, 10 cannot be on the streets anymore.
Right.
That's-
But all we're doing is following with.
We are, I'm
you know,
not doubting
with the-
that at all.
And I think this is what's important for us to do this and get this into
Yeah.
our city code is then, because I think I know there's a lot of parents who do educate their kiddos on the proper transportation safety. I was riding down the bike path the other day, I had this little 4-year-old coming at me on his little kick scooter. As soon as he saw me, he moved to the right. Shouted out to his 3 siblings, "Go to the right!" Like, so someone taught him how to do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm sure there are people who, "Can I get a scooter?" "Sure, here's your scooter. See ya."
Right.
And they need to know that there are actually state statutes
Right.
that, affect what their child's doing when they get this
Okay.
scooter.
And
So-
part of this is because under state statute, if I remember correctly, it has to do with, they can't be ticketed if they're under a certain age?
Correct.
But under city ordinance, we can still tick, we can, so.
City ordinance, you
You
can.
can, so, I mean, it's,
State's 12.
yeah,
I get it.
so.
Okay, so I'm comfortable with all that. I don't know.
Dan, I want to clarify something for you real quickly. 7304 Sub A,
Yeah.
no person shall operate a Class 3 e-scooter, or e-bike, e-scooter, e-moto. They do make a Class 3 e-scooter with a 2200 watt motor versus the 750 watt.
Okay.
And that's, so when you said scooters, it would not be universally, all scooters are allowed on the trail. And that has to do with the size of the
Okay.
electric motor. So I think I left it vague, and I wanted to make sure that you understood.
Well,
Sub A is all Class 3 electric devices.
Yeah, so you
I
then,
just don't know if we need to call that out or
so
not.
I think then you, if you look under C1, permitted vehicles, talking about on multi-use trails, you then do have to list
It says there, class 1,
Class 1 and Class 2 e-scooters specifically, because it says e-scooters, but we're excluding, are we allowing Class 3 e-scooters on the trail?
No.
Then you can, because being as there is a Class 3 e-scooter, and we exclude it from sidewalks or public sidewalks within, we only say up on A, no person shall operate a Class 3 e-bike, e-scooter, or e-moto upon any public sidewalk.
Yeah, my whole thing was
So
there's
I
just no
think-
definition for
So
Class
Class
1,
3,
Class
we don't
2
say you
scooter.
can't be on a multi-use path, which I think is different than a sidewalk. Because under C1, you say permitted vehicles, Class 1 and Class 2 e-bikes and e-scooters. So that means, in my opinion, all e-scooters are permitted, Class 1, Class 2, Class 3.
It
I
depends on
read
how
that
you.
as class 1 and 2 e-bikes, e-scooters.
You could
So
do that too.
that's how I read it. We just need the definition of Class 1 and 2.
I don't know
e-scooters
where,
then.
so I don't know if there should be a hyphen or something else in there legally, but maybe this comes from somebody else's statute and it's fine.
Okay, Class, Sub 7304 C Sub 2, Class 3 e-bikes and e-motos
Oh,
are strictly prohibited.
Yes, I guess it's probably, yeah. I see what you're saying, so yes, I'm fine with it. So we say on the next one, they are strictly prohibited, so, okay. Yeah, I read through that and missed that the first time, so, all right.
I'm gonna go back to the age again, the 12. What we're doing now is we're forcing those 10, 11-year-olds to get on a bicycle, and they're gonna go through the same intersection, not looking as well. So we're just taking them off the scooter to the bike. They go to the park down the road,
It's
2
kind of my
blocks away.
concern too.
They're still required to follow the rules of the
Are.
road.
Yeah.
Can we enforce that? Very difficult, no matter what device they're on. Some of that falls on parents to educate. I'm not taking away from it. I think that right now what we're seeing is these e-vehicles, whatever they are, flying through intersections. They're going down the sidewalks. They're quite honestly being disrespectful to pedestrians. And we're going to see more and more people hurt. My concern with bringing this up, whether we do anything tonight, we modify it, bring it back to you, that's your judgment, and I do know that we're talking about a lot of items. At some point, I feel the city has a responsibility to do our part in regulating it, which is limited to what we're able to do with an ordinance. It is not going to solve the problem. It does give us the authority to issue civil penalties for youth that are blatantly violating our city code. Currently, they are not subject to any penalties whatsoever.
I truly think a lot of parents aren't informed on what the state statute is. And if we bring it more locally here, they'll have a better understanding. There was literally a parent, probably a couple weeks ago, on the mom's chat, and I'm not a mom, but I'm privy to hearing what's going on there. Someone asked, I have a 7-year-old who wants a scooter. What kind of scooter should I get my child? And
One without a motor.
exactly, and everyone's given all these suggestions. All these parents are given all of these suggestions of brands of scooters, And it was like, and I'm like, Amy, it's not state law, you know. So she actually went on there, posted the state statute, and well, the post disappeared because the parent finally realized, it's actually against state statute for my 7-year-old to ride a motorized scooter. And that's what we're doing here. There were some comments too about us we want a lot of power. We want power over what people are doing with their transportation. And yes, we want our kids to be safe. That's why we're doing this. There was a comment, what are the statistics? What injuries have we had in Byron? Have there been any fatalities? Well, someone was hit by an e-bike in Rochester. 3 days ago, an 8-year-old was killed in Brooklyn Park. And I'm sure Brooklyn Park is going back now thinking, geez, maybe we should go back into our ordinance and figure out how to make our bike paths a little bit more safe. I'd rather be more proactive with what we're doing here. And I think it's just educating parents, educating kids. And I know I've talked with the mayor, I've talked with Officer Dierks. The next step after this will be to educate these kids on what the rules of the road are. And I've got plans. I know these are middle schoolers that are learning how to ride, that are riding these things. And I've talked with Officer Dierks, the mayor, first responders about putting together some kind of presentation during a Bears class. They have town halls occasionally during, and everyone participates, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And then we give a this collective people who are involved in all of this, give a presentation to these 6th, 7th, and 8th graders and say, hey, here's the ordinance, here's the state law, be safe. Because I don't want to go to school in September and not have a student come to school because they're no longer here because they're not being safe. I think that's what we're trying to do.
And I pointed out to some people at the end of the last meeting when we were kind of talking about this and what to do about it. When I was growing up in another community in the 70s and 80s, we had to have every bicycle licensed in that community. It was a requirement. And they put on summer bicycle safety classes at every one of the elementary schools that were optional. There wasn't forced, but they set up obstacle courses and cones, and I mean, they kind of made it a game, but it was to go over rules of the road and stuff like that. And I think those are all, valuable, and I'm not, and I think that there is some reasons that everything that's going to be on the road should be licensed, and the trails are kind of an extension of the transportation system nowadays, sidewalks to a lesser extent, but anyway, but it also helped when somebody lost one, theoretically they could find it. I never knew that happened very often because, the stickers came off on the licenses, but it was what it was. So, I think that there is an advantage of it, and, and let's be serious. Even with the state statute, until the parent actually has to pay a fine, some of them aren't going to do anything.
And I think positive reinforcement as well, instead of making it punitive, can have some effect. My 2 nephews were pulled over in Red Wing about 3 weeks ago for wearing a helmet and given coupons for an ice cream cone. I believe it was Dairy Queen or something. So that's part of the plan that I would like to see with local businesses and maybe our deputies here in town, maybe our city workers who are going around the community driving. They see someone stop at a stop sign. They see a kid with a helmet stopping and going the speed limit. Just kind of, I think, a positive reinforcement rather than making it overly punitive, I think could have a positive effect.
And I'm fine with that. I think you have to have both sides of it.
Yep.
But we can work on the positive reinforcement. We're not going to fund it as a city, I don't think, so that leaves us with the punitive reinforcement for right now.
So Al, I have a question for you. How many bullets do you see that may need to be corrected based on the conversation? Have you been keeping track of those, or?
2.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, it depends on our comments, 7304 subsection D, riding as close to the right-hand side of the roadway as practical.
Okay.
My opinion to his comment on that, when you go to turn to the left, if you move over, that's a practical thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that, you know, that's how I would interpret that, but, you know,
Okay, that's one.
But otherwise, we have subsection C4, no device. Where am I at? No person shall operate any device on a city multi-use path or trail at a speed exceeding.
Whatever
We
number.
had 10 miles an hour, it's currently listed at 15. So that would be the one, and then the
the light.
light, addressing the,
So let's have-
excuse me, subsection,
I guess
got
my
it.
question is, do we need to have this rewritten, or
Can we do it with these three?
are we able to make
How many changes
amendments?
can we?
if you agree to the specific changes so I know what your intent is, I can do it with an amendment for a couple, if you're comfortable with that. If you're not, we'll just rewrite it and bring it back. The only other one had to do with addressing the state, except as allowed under state statute for the definition of bicycles, riding after dark.
Right.
I guess up to the council, how do you feel about these 3 or 4, whatever they are, instead of waiting another month?
I have no problem with either one, because I do think it's nice to get ahead of this and stuff, and I think that, you know, if there's other comments that want to come in, we can address them at the next time, but I'm also fine with, we know what the 3 are, and I know it's kind of wishy on the right side versus practical, but I think that, you know, you got to start somewhere, and we can always adjust as time goes on.
Well, that was my recommendation. I think our person in the audience had some good comments, and maybe if those could be sent to City Hall or given to us.
Yeah.
I would like to get some, I mean, we wait another month and we just keep
Yeah,
pushing
we
it
just keep
down the
waiting.
road.
I'd like to get
I
something
would
done
rather
and-
put something in place with these changes
I agree.
today, and then look at community feedback, and if there's something we need to tweak down the road, we tweak
Good
it.
idea.
Yep, I like it. Yep, a month, 2 months, something can happen, and we're gonna all be thinking, why in the heck didn't we just
Yep.
do it? So-
And I'd like to get the ordinance in place so we can begin working on
The school
the,
stuff.
Yeah.
the presentation for
Yeah.
town halls.
So I'll be very specific, 73.03 subsection D, that is, no person shall ride or, no person shall use a roller device, bicycle, or motorized device upon a public street, sidewalk, or other roadway after sunset or before sunrise, except as allowed under state statute, period.
Period.
That makes sense?
Yep.
And then 7304, subsection C4, the one we just discussed, speed limit, no person shall operate any shall operate any device on a city multi-use path or trail at a speed exceeding
10 or 15?
10 miles,
miles an hour.
10 miles per hour.
10 fair? I don't know, I don't ride
I
bike.
don't know if 10 is very valid, but
10's fair.
I can't walk that fast. I can't even-
And you also got very few places where you're not going to hit it. You should be going faster than that because you're going to hit a
runner-
road right
Yeah, I
away
was just gonna
anyway.
say, sometimes runners are going more than 10 miles.
But this says
That's fine.
runners are fine
Device,
because
though.
this is addressing any device.
Device, yep, okay, we're good.
we'll split it, go 12.
I think that,
No, I think we'll make it 10.
10?
I don't think he's going,
I'm good with 10.
I don't think anybody's going to be patrolling it
Yeah,
unless
they're
they
going,
actually
you're going
have
12
complaints.
miles an hour. Yeah,
okay.
You're not gonna sit there.
If they're going downhill,
think
we
what
all
we're
know that they
telling
like to
them-
coast
We'll
downhill.
go 10.
Yeah,
We'll go
so
10.
nobody's gonna know what speed
You're
they're
not gonna
going,
be spending time
No
on
one has
4th
to put
Street,
on
you're
their
gonna be
bike
watching
anyway.
the bike paths.
but it's gonna at least, if we say 10, it's gonna tell them that they should slow down.
Down, yes.
It may not,
There's other people on the path besides yourself.
Yep.
And Dan, do the scooter, you may know this, do they have speedometers on them? Some
Yes.
do?
some do.
Yeah,
Some do.
they're like electric. Yeah.
A lot of bicycles, unless you add it, don't.
Huh?
I mean, a bicycle,
Yeah.
unless you add it, it
That's
doesn't.
just- Yeah.
So we got 2 of the 10, okay? That's
Those are
good.
the only 2 that I have
Yep,
as far as changes at this point.
yep. Because like I said, some of the other ones he talked about, I think there's subjective in there anyway, so.
All right, who wants
We-
to try this motion?
We can go through the discuss, I mean, we talked about the staying as close to the right-hand side as practical, the private property discussion, We haven't changed anything on there from the previous ordinance. If you want to change that, I mean, we can, that's why we're here. We did not recommend any change to
We
the
haven't got to the
private
resolution,
property
we haven't got
piece.
to the resolution section. Are we still in, did we close?
Closed it.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
All right, good. So we're on,
Should've really
I
had a
couldn't
motion
remember if
up
we
here,
closed
but-
it or not. We've been talking about this now so
You can
long.
make a motion.
So I will make a motion to approve,
What about let's talk about the private property thing. I mean, is that?
Actually, we should have a motion first,
Okay,
before, we should have had a motion before the
okay,
discussion,
yeah.
honestly, but, okay.
Yes.
Just point of order.
yeah, point of order, we should have the motion first, then
So put it
discuss
up
it,
there,
and then
Steve.
whatever. I make a motion that we approve resolution 2026-19 for approval of ordinance, repeal and replacement for chapter 73, I don't even know why this is called toy vehicles, with the changes that we just discussed having to do with lighting and speed limit.
Can we change the name of the ordinance? Is that silly?
Second this?
I mean,
I'll second
Okay,
it.
we got a
sorry.
first
Now
and
we
a
can
second.
talk about
apologize,
it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, now we can talk about additional changes.
Okay, we got a first and second.
Sorry.
That's good.
Any public comments?
You don't give them another set of public comments, I'm sorry.
Okay, council comments, anything else?
Now
Okay.
the council needs to
Now the
discuss it.
council needs to decide if they want to have any additional comments.
If you wanted to
You call
talk
it.
about
Who do you
private.
need to talk to?
What's that?
Should we just go down the line?
Go ahead.
I have no other comments for it.
No other comments.
I agree with everything was said, and the changes made a lot of sense to me.
Yep. My only comment is if we get feedback from the community or whatever, we relook at
Yep.
next month or the following month or whatever.
The private property part.
The only, I agree with you, just understand that we have to have enough notice to
Do a
post a
public-
public hearing
Yep, I
to
get
make
it.
changes to an ordinance.
Yep,
But yes.
I guess the private property part still kind of confused. I know it's part of the previous ordinance. Was it part of like,
I assume.
don't bike through my yard, don't cut through my yard, that kind of stuff?
I assume
Get on my lawn, or what was
I
it?
assume it really had something to do with either commercial or churches, kids playing, riding their bikes or something, or playing on their parking lots, but I have no idea why it's there.
So I can give you some background on this, unfortunately.
Okay.
On park board, this came up probably about 2009 or so. It was kids cutting across to the middle school through people's yards.
On their bicycles?
And this was actually brought forward at that time, even though it was created, I think, in 1995, but that was the thing.
Yeah.
And it was bicycles at that time, not
Yeah,
e-scooters.
but it was, I mean, he's
But it was
right.
going through
tresp-
people's yards
It's
continuously.
trespassing, without permission anyway, but I guess it gives it a little more teeth, but, yeah.
So, I mean, whether or not that's applicable by current state standards or whatever, I guess I would say if I had a problem with my yard, I'd give the deputy a call and say, come check this out, right?
Yep.
But the other side of it is I also don't think that any of the deputies in town have enough other stuff that they're not going to be looking for kids doing it unless there's a real problem, and then this potentially could give them a way of, do you guys have permission to be here? No,
Yeah.
go away. So,
For next city council, could we get like some service numbers for the scooters too? Is that easy to pull from your system at all? What? Okay.
well, you can't ticket most of them now.
No, but just like the complaints or calls or, just to track it a little bit, see if we're making improvements. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so we have a motion and a second.
yep.
And we've
Any other-
discussed
No other council comments?
Yeah, I don't know. My question was the title. I don't know, toy vehicles.
I don't know.
But
what else
how else do you do, how do you else do you define these, I guess? It just seems.
I don't know what else to-
Let's be honest with ourselves. When we're talking scooters, we're talking kick scooters and back in the day, and those were kind of toys. These are more like motorized vehicles that are now on our streets.
I don't
And
know
they're
what else
no
to
longer toys, I guess.
I don't know what to call it, though.
I don't know.
Alternative transportation, I don't know.
Yeah, because it still constitute, the same rules are for those kick scooters technically,
Still fits
are
them.
also in here, so that's the problem. They're both
And
kind of-
skateboards.
And skateboards and bicycles, so they're, you know,
All right.
I agree, it's kind of a weird name, and I saw that when I was like, yeah, it's like whatever, so. So you're not pushing to change it?
If you come up with a better name and we can change it next month or the month after if you decide to do that.
Good.
Okay, any other council comments? We had a first and second council comments, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed. Resolution 2026-19, approval of the ordinance, repeal and replace, city code chapter, complete. And with those,
With those
Changes.
with the
changes.
changes.
Yep.
Nice job. And we knew that was gonna be a lengthy conversation, so, and it's well worth it, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice job, everybody. All right, we're at 6.2, Resolution 2026-20, lawful gambling premise permit. And that is for
Byron Youth Football.
Bayern Youth Football? Is this the
Just their annual.
annual, one time, or just,
This is for a raffle, if I'm,
oh, I see.
they're pull tabs.
Yeah, this is just to add another
Okay,
another bar on there.
Yeah, so they
On the
get
web,
tilted,
so.
they got Tilted Tavern finally.
Got it.
It's one of the few that they didn't have. So
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-20 to allow Byron Youth Football Association to have lawful gambling premise permit located at 403 Frontage Road.
nice job.
Seconded.
Okay, we got a first and second. Any public comments on this? Any other council comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 2026-20 approved. Moving,
New business.
no unfinished business, so we're to the new business, amendment to Resolution 2026-01 fee schedule. I'm assuming it's,
This has to do with the civil penalties. This resolution simply adds a civil penalty section to the to the bottom of our existing fee schedule. First offense is $75, second $150, third offense is $300.
150.
Sorry, 75, 150. You
Yeah,
said
sorry,
50.
75, $150, $300.
Yes.
okay,
Where's it at?
way at the bottom,
Very bottom.
right there, the
In
bottom
red.
red one.
Only thing is that.
Got it.
I move approval of resolution, I'm sorry, I move approval of resolution 2026-01, modifying or amending our fee schedule.
Second.
Okay, we got a first and second. Any public comments on the fee schedule? Any other council comments? If
I got a question. Al, is this kind of on par? I mean, I'm sure maybe you've looked at other cities that are other cities doing kind of the same thing with their fee schedules and making them.
They are not as consistent or as clear. So
Okay.
I will tell you that this was designed, I hate to say arbitrarily, but it is not based on following somebody else. It's designed to say it's a big enough number to get your attention, small enough to be practical. We think it's fair, based on other fines and penalties for moving vehicle violations, if you want to call it that. But no, I'm not going to tell you it's based on anything else.
And we can expect that our deputies are going to be pretty patient when we roll out this ordinance and stuff like that, giving them warnings and, you know, stuff like that, not just pull, unless they're darting in and out of traffic, I would imagine. But, hey, you don't have a helmet on, here's a $75.
So my question is, at what age can this be assessed?
I would defer to the officer, but I believe at any age, current state statute does not allow state code to be utilized or enforced against anybody less than 14. The reason for bringing this in-house, in part, is so that we can enforce it below the age of 14.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is something that, honestly, I'm gonna have to speak to my administration. What they're willing to push as far as that goes, just because the ordinance allows it, they're going to want for those ages. What I've been doing so far is, as I speak to people, I'll get a business card, I'll write down the statute numbers, and I will encourage the kids to
Yep.
Would it be safe to assume that it would depend on how egregious the offenses are?
Well, I was going to say that, I mean, we may not need to use this in every case, but there may be cases that arise over and over again where we need to do something, and this gives you some leverage at that point. I'm in favor.
I mean, right now, it's on discretion whether they write a warning or a ticket
Right.
anyway, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same kind of discretion, so I think
Correct.
I don't think that they're intentionally gonna go out to be punitive. There are times where it does get to the point where you have to be punitive in order to get through some people. And I realize there's a hope for a carrot, Justin, but the other side of that equation, sometimes for parents and stuff, is they have to pay a fine before they realize that they have to do something.
I got no problem with this.
If it gives you any more comfort, we did eliminate the portion of the proposed statute that said we could impound the vehicles.
I'm okay, that part I was actually more okay with. So,
So
You
we
got
have-
room for a little
We have a
impound?
first and second.
we have a first and second, is there any, go ahead.
Okay, we have first and second, we have council, no other council comments? Okay, not all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, resolution 2026-01 fee schedule approved. Lot split request Byron West Industrial Park, B1L4.
This is the industrial park lot out on Vol Drive. A portion of this lot has a fairly sizable utility easement on the west side of it. The question that comes into play, and Mr. Carlson is here as well to address you. We're working through this as an economic development project. His request was to split this lot. And from the staff's perspective, we're nervous about splitting the lot because a portion of the lot, if we own the entire lot or we carry the paper on the lot so that we're still technically owners under a contract for deed or a loan agreement of some type, a portion of the lot could come back to the city, which may devalue the city's lot on part of it. We're taking a lot that we already own and potentially devaluing it would be our concern. However, Mr. Carlson asked for your feedback as to whether or not you would consider it. We don't make that decision. Ultimately, the city, you as a council, are the owners of this lot. And we wanted to make sure he had time to present his case to you as far as what he is interested in doing and why he wants to split it. And this is not an action item, this is a discussion, so that he has direction. It may affect another agenda item later in the meeting, so that's why this discussion is pertinent and significant to us right now. So I'd invite Mr. Carlson to come forward.
Thank you. Thanks for waiting.
Oh, my pleasure. It's a little weird and great being back. If I could segue quick, I want to congratulate Olmsted County for acquiring Jake Thompson. I hear he's joining the force. Jake's an amazing young man, so I'm excited for him to be on that force. And his dad's, they got a history of service to the community through his dad, Steve, who's a sergeant, and his grandpa, Ron, who is a lieutenant in the RPD. So another reason I'd like to be in Byron is, a good collaboration with law enforcement. But, I mean, if I may, I just want to take a quick step. I didn't prepare anything, so I'm sorry. But I want to be very clear that I hope this sounds appropriate. I don't need to be in Byron. I want to be in Byron. There's a lot of reasons for that. One, even before the second, is I've been working with Al and Kelly, and as I've been looking to activate my licenses or consulting for other companies, it's amazing what different response you get from the communities, and that can make or break a cannabis business. Byron has been amazing. Al's been fantastic. Kelly, who's not here, has been just amazing. So the willingness to have a discussion and work with you is really the number one reason I'd like to see this work in Byron. The second is I'm from Byron. I graduated from Byron a long time ago. I saw the Good Neighbors Day race. I think I was the first winner of the youth Good Neighbors Day race, 5K. I got a little trophy at home, but you know, I want to give back to the community that I was born and raised in. I've continued to bank in Byron, even though I don't live here. I'm currently in Duluth. I've been all over the place, but currently in Duluth. You know, other than that, you know, a business can give back to the community. So one of the things I heard is I love the you know, the carrot and the stick discussion, right? You want to reward rather than be punitive at times. There's a really good book, Whale Done, that talks about, you know, if you're trying to train an orca, you got to incent it, not hit it. You know, something as small as that is something I would see our business supporting. You know, being able to give back to the community with small things like that, being able to give scholarships, other requests. A successful cannabis business can be extremely lucrative, and I think it's very important to be able to share that. Everyone wins together and share that with the community. If you look back through my business or professional experience, I've got a history of engaging in the community, giving back to the community. You know, the other reason I want to be here is I've got a built-in network, so I've been in active discussions. Hopefully it's okay to say this, I might get beat up later, but trying to secure Sergeant Thompson to come work for me when he retires in November. I've been in active discussions with Shelley Buchanan. She might beat me up later too, but who many of you may know has a dispensary in Rochester, and I know was approached when you were looking at doing the municipality. So if I do this in Byron, I have that built-in support group. Why? So hopefully that's a little bit of why I want to be here, but what do I want to do? So the lot, it's very attractive that the city owns it. I love that. I love the fact that Byron also is not under Olmsted County's direction. Gives you a lot of flexibility in what you want to do. The lot as it sits with a lot of it is encumbered, right, with the easement. It really makes it difficult and awkward to put one license on the property. And when you look at an investment that cash flow is king, it's much more attractive to be able to put 2 licenses on there to get that cash flow. So my proposal would be my general contracting business would buy the property. I would then lease the 2 properties. One would lease back to myself. I have a preliminary micro cannabis license. The other one would be leased to my wife, who also has a preliminary cannabis license, and then make a go of it. I mean, I have investors. The investors like the fact of having the possibility of having 2 right next to each other. I have cultivators who I'm waiting to sign a deal with who would prefer Byron over some of the other communities that I've been considering and working with. So yeah, I've given 3 options to Al and Kelly. I think the third option is probably the best for Byron, meaning there's been concerns about, you know, well, what happens if you split it and then you default on the loan or something else happens. In the third proposal, I tried to split evenly the unencumbered property. So you have the same amount of unencumbered property. I called them C1 and C2. So basically, Lot 1 and Lot 2 have the same amount of property, again, that's unencumbered. Yeah, sorry, I didn't prepare anything. I'm going to stop. I'm much more of an introvert. If anyone knows my mom, she's pretty quiet. I'm more like my mom than my dad.
So you are proposing 3 different options here, and the third one is the one,
That's a front to back split.
that one there is the one that,
No.
or which one is the
Sorry.
one that you would like to?
That one.
This is the
I
one.
think this is the fairest based on, again, a conversation with Al and Kelly.
Okay.
I think this represents more equity across what would be 2 lots. And I guess what I didn't say is to be compliant with the Office of Cannabis Management and to have 2 licenses, I have to have unique and separate properties. You can't just share.
We'll say forever.
So you have to technically have to
To do
have.
this in Byron and do 2 licenses, I have to have this approved. If it's not approved like that, I'll have to take a deep breath, go back to my investment team and ask what do they want to do at this point.
Yep. So you need 2 legal lots. For cultivation, can you explain what you're looking at for your cultivation? What are, in that area, because you are going to be restricted by any kind of construction in that cultivation by those transmission easements.
Yes,
So, and I'm sure you've read those.
I have.
So what does your cultivation area entail?
Yeah, so I have read those, and also within that, you've seen that it does allow for growing.
Yep.
And then it talks about the company reimbursing for crops that are damaged. So on the left, if you're looking at C1, that would be the encumbered property. My intent would be, I didn't really draw it as I think we'd probably do it, is we'd fence the whole thing in, and that would be primarily cultivation.
So you're looking at doing totally outside cultivation
To
versus.
start, so again, to be realistic, a lot of companies in Minnesota are going to fail. They're going to fail because they don't know what they're doing. They spend too much and get too fancy. So my intent would be to be obviously fully compliant with OCM, make sure that Byron is happy with what we're doing, but I'll call it a bootstrap. Those that are going to be successful are going to meet the requirements and continue to reinvest. I think up to 50% of your business will be retained earnings, so that you can make your cultivation more robust, move it more towards an indoor. It's very expensive. I don't know if the whole council saw the Byron proposal, but I'm sure it was scary, over $300 a square foot just to outfit a indoor cultivation. So to start, it would be a fenced-in area. Cultivation for both properties would be fenced in, meeting the OCM requirements.
Okay.
And it would be outdoor.
So
by their
then sometime in
definition.
the future, if you got to that point, you'd probably be looking at building a building on C1 outside of the utility easement or something to start indoor cultivation, because you're not
Yeah,
gonna have a
so
lot
if-
of room on C2 with your manufacturing, which I assume is your drying and your packaging.
And it could be edibles.
Yes.
Other consumables. But yeah, if you look on what I'm calling it as C1, again, trying to use the full advantage of what's encumbered. You can't do anything else on that. It's like, oh, you could at least grow.
You can
So-
grow and you can put a parking lot, and you're right, that's about
And
it.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So trying to be creative, trying to make it work. And
Yep.
again, Al and Kelly have been great. It's always been a discussion, which other communities it hasn't been. So it's been refreshing. And I think whether this goes forward or not, Al and Kelly have been great. I want to make sure you continue to hear that. But yes, I need this to do business in Byron.
So to the city's aspect, what's the process for the splitting this?
You'd have to go to P and Z still.
Okay, but
Okay, so it hasn't been there yet?
Well,
Oh, it hasn't been there, well, either that or we'd have to take it over on a thing, but lot split, well, no, you're right, they could do a single lot split. I don't know, that little thing down there kind of makes it a little
you're on the
challenging.
wrong one.
That's not the right one.
Oh, that one,
This one.
that one,
Even though that's the third one, that's not the one they're talking
oh,
about.
so we're on that
So-
one.
I got
The-
it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't label them appropriately.
The lot split can happen administratively under city code based on the planning director's discretion.
Discretion, yeah.
When it is a simple, what they want to do here, I think,
simple
would be a meets and bounds
Yeah.
description. The only concern we have is if the city is a participant in the land, a loan contract for deed situation. If there is a default on it, we're putting the city in a less than ideal position. So the only concern that we have is not about the lot split. If the property is owned outright by Mr. Carlson, we don't have an issue with it. We would totally support the lot split. It is only because we are a holder of an interest in the property
But we're a holder in the interest for both lots if he splits it.
Depending on how it's set up. But I agree with, if there is a third party purchasing it, and our agreement is with the third party for all of the property, then
Luc- and it's
that
more
third
lucrative
party
with
is
the two
liable for
licenses, though.
all of it. The lot split, if we were going to end up with a contract individually, which I apologize, has been my understanding up
please.
until tonight, I'm not really in favor of holding two separate contracts or two separate loans where one could be defaulted on. However, if a third party is holding all of the paper on this, I have less concern.
Yeah,
Because,
Because legally then, if they're two lots, we're holding the paper with it, we've sold it as a single lot, we allow the split to happen, but it's an all or nothing from a default on a contract for D. So if they default on one, they default on both,
correct.
because they can't buy the lot then, the second party is leasing the lot, or third party is leasing the lots, so I mean.
I
And
would agree with that if there is that one contract.
Yeah, if there's one contract, then it's all or nothing.
Is that not what you said?
That is exactly what I said. There can only be
Your
one
general-
contract. My construction company would own it
Own
and
the
lease
horse.
it to the two cannabis companies.
Yeah, so as long as, so then I'm okay with it under that. I understand your thing, because if you lost it and you got back one,
Yeah.
with all that easement, we might as well we could be better off selling it to one of the adjoining property owners and getting what we can get out of it, and that's about it, because, it's not worth much with all that encumbrance.
I love the honest presentation. We've been trying to get rid of these lots for a while over there. It sounds like it's workable with a lot split, and it's profitable to you. I think it's something that Byron needs. I mean.
Yep.
And we talked about ourselves, and we couldn't make it work, so I think someone wants to give it a shot. I think it's a good idea.
And it's in an industrial area, so it's basically.
Spot for it.
Good spot for it, and, yeah, so I don't have a problem with it. We just have to go through the formal lot split, if you do that one, that's just one lot line, so I think you're right, you can do it administratively.
So this is the one we're planning
This
on
is-
right here?
This was his third
Yes. I just want to
presentation.
make
It's the
sure.
one we would accept.
Otherwise, my other
That
one,
other-
the other
I
one
saw
that I
that
have
one
no
and I'm
problem
like,
with
no
is
way.
this one. Because this one is clear too,
It's
but.
been a great discussion, which we started with one, which was my favorite, led us to one that was just kind of crazy and creative, and we're all like, no, that doesn't make sense. And then Al and Kelly were great, and that's what led us to, oh, hey, what about this? This might work.
Yeah, because in reality, if it's a contract for Dean for the whole thing, it's held by one and then leased to the other two, it's all comes back to us if it's a default, and I don't have a problem with that.
We can put that in the motion, can't we?
No,
No, 'cause we
Just a
don't-
suggestion.
Just to do
this is a
the
discussion only.
request?
We'll get to the rest of it, so.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you to trust the process.
Okay.
But yeah, otherwise, I'm also, my second favorite, or actually my first favorite is this one. So, from the front to back split. But
Well,
I don't
we'll,
care either way.
I think the other one looks clear.
So that's coming up.
we'll address some of those concepts. This covers the purpose of the discussion portion, and
Yep.
I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
taking time.
Thank you.
Very much
Appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, you can do the other one with just a straight line and then you just have an easement as part of the thing, but that's fine. Yeah,
I'll discuss that with you.
yeah, I'm fine either way.
Okay.
Okay.
8.3 Castle Acres Development Agreement Amendment. I think this just pushes it a year, right?
Mr. Caston has a development agreement that requires him to address a couple of buildings that were on his property when he developed it. This extends out the development agreement for the east building, which is the largest on his property. He was supposed to remove it or convert it into a living facility of some type. And that development agreement has come and gone, and it's time to address it. Staff is recommending, and Jeff has agreed, that we would extend the deadline on his development agreement for that building to be addressed to June 30th of 2027, which matches, or July 31st of 2027, excuse me, which matches the deadline for the westernmost building, which has to have a house put on it so that the storage shed is not the primary building on the property. So that one's already July 31st of 27. This matches it, and he's agreed that this is the last extension on the development agreement.
Sounds good to me.
I move to approve the Castle Acres Development Agreement Amendment.
Second.
Okay, we got a first and second. Any public comments on this? Any other council comments? Okay.
I
Okay,
have
go
a
ahead.
council comment, but I'll also vote no, says I'm opposed to another extension on
Okay,
this,
fine.
but, yep.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're back to all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
Noted. Okay. Motion approved. 8.4, bloodborne pathogen policy.
Our staff safety committee is taking it upon themselves to review our safety policies. The current one that they've just completed is bloodborne pathogens, and this updates it, brings it current, and I would compliment them on another outstanding job of taking time to dig into something very heavy, but they've done a great job with it, and recommend approval.
May I make one suggestion? Normally, the exposure control plan is separate from the bloodborne pathogen plan. It may reside inside it, but it's recommended to be a separate document. Not that I teach this or anything.
Are you saying you know something about this?
Actually, I thought you did a really good job. I was actually
Thought
going
you
to
did
borrow.
too.
No, just kidding. But no, you have a very good incident exposure piece within here, but I think in most of our systems, from OSHA perspective, they like to see it as a separate document that then can be pulled off and said, you had an exposure, follow these rules, rather than it being buried within a document. I think that's the whole reasoning behind that.
So you just want to see the exposure plan separate, but
Yeah,
inside
just call
of
it exposure control plan, and then your bloodborne pathogen plan. That would be my only suggestion. It doesn't have to be done that way, but that's how we usually do it for OSHA reasons.
Did we get these from MMUA? So these came right from our MMUA
Okay.
rep, so they were OSHA documents, but,
Okay.
but no, that makes sense to me, Dan.
And maybe that's just for us in a more, I mean, we're dealing with trauma cleanup, so maybe that's,
I think that if you would like to see it as two separate plans, just make that your
Be a piece
motion.
of cake, yeah.
Make it in your motion, yeah.
okay.
Okay.
I'll move to approve the bloodborne pathogens policy, separating the exposure incident into its own plan.
Second.
Okay, we got a first and second. Any public comments on this? Any other council comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, delinquent utilities, I think there's 7 on there, so,
Getting more.
Make a motion to approve delinquent utilities.
Seconded.
okay, we got a first, second. Any public comments? Any other council comments? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? 7 of them will be sent. Public comments. Another section, public comments. One more time for public comments. Okay, no public comments. Are we doing communication reports, or we're gonna do we move
We should
on?
do that now.
Yes.
Communication reports? Okay, let's do that real quick. Steve?
We didn't have P and Z. We do need to have a Public Works meeting again sometime soon.
August.
Okay, and that's about it. And it looks like we're making, I saw water in the pool.
Oh, no, don't get us started.
Okay, I don't know if that's, so I guess I'm ahead of myself here.
EDA's been pretty active lately. I think
Steven.
we'll kind of see why here. We attended, oh God, help me out with this, Al. What was the conference?
The League of Minnesota
League of
Cities
Minnesota
Annual
Cities,
Conference.
Thank you. I attended one day. I'm sure you guys attended more than one. That was pretty good, I thought, at least the one day that I went. That's about it.
Okay. Well, I had a visit today from Nurture. The 20 of the children came over here, and we did a presentation on a mock,
Public hearing, yeah.
and just a question and
It's
answer.
fun.
It's always fun listening to what they want. They want Ferris wheels and roller coasters, right?
Well, the proposal was an amusement park,
Amusement park.
$2 million amusement
What would
park.
they like to see in Byron? Well, they hit hard on the Ferris wheel and the roller coasters, so
It was
that's our next budget, okay? And then Midwest Access, myself and Erica had a 5-minute segment with them to promote Good Neighbors Day.
That's awesome.
And the concert series, and that was Erica's first time on camera, she said. She did a great job, so
Nice.
that was good. So we've got some recognition. And we did talk about the Summerby Car Show, because that's a new hit on there pretty good, knowing that Miss Minnesota's gonna be there.
Yeah.
So I think that's exciting out there, and hopefully that'll draw some people. Okay, I'm done.
It's been pretty quiet for me. Good news is I'm gonna be here for Good Neighbor Days for a change. Actually, we just planned our 2027 schedule, so I've been checking off all the Tuesdays, so don't change the date for next year. No, I've actually been working with Trina a little bit on the car show, and I think we're up to 30.
30, yeah.
And that was her goal, but I think she's gonna keep going. I'm assuming from the people I saw signing up right away, there's gonna be a lot of Corvettes. And people are just gonna move them from their garage at Summerby over because there's a Bloody Mary bar in the parking lot that morning, so.
Sounds like a good activity. If you go online, their invitation was a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, they're gonna make it fun. It's gonna be an active time, so that's good to see. Looks like the weather's gonna be great for the weekend, so I'm gonna be running around to all the events with my golf cart.
Okay, good for you. Thanks.
Awesome. We had a public or a park board meeting, but we didn't have a quorum, so no official business was conducted there. First responders, nothing too new to report there. The plan is to have a couple of them perhaps participate in the education of the city ordinance to discuss, from their end, the safety issues, what can happen with brain trauma, traumatic injuries and stuff like that. Trying to think if there's anything else there. Nope. Diversity and Inclusion Council, we've taken on, of course, the Summer Fun Concert Series. We had our first one last month. It was rained out, and then we rescheduled, and then we had to cancel early because the storm, that was that night that the big storms came.
Yeah.
So Eric and myself and Bosman were sitting watching the skies, not really being able to watch the band because we're like, do we call it? Do we call it? Finally, we called it, and as we called it, and as everyone was just getting into their cars, it started to rain, and so it was perfect timing in calling that off. Tari was great, though. Oak and Embers came. They have that big smoker along 4th there by the park. They sold all their food as we were calling it off, and so they're also going to be a food vendor at our Brubicue in September, and so we continue to plan for that as well. So still working on that. That's about it.
Thanks. Tom?
No, the park board we didn't have a quorum. A few internal meetings, but nothing else real major. I was able to get to one day of the LCM annual concert, so our conference, so it was good. The one day I was able to be there, but the pool itself, yes, it looks all nice and fancy and everything, but it's got a 30-day cure time for it. That has to be submerged underwater. So
Oh, I knew that. I wasn't saying we should open it. I'm just saying that there's,
in order to submerge it underwater, we had to fill it, so.
yes. I think, I'm just, from the fence, it looks really nice. I don't know what it looks
Actually,
like from the
It
deck,
actually
but
does look really
does.
nice. I mean, with that new coping that you guys approved to put on there, I got rid of the old bricks around there. It really,
nice.
and we did get compliments from the construction team about this is one of the best vessels for its age that they've seen. So
Really?
the vessel itself is in really good shape.
Thank you. Awesome.
So-
Good job.
it was interesting, though, from what I could see from the fence. I mean, there was some really big, scary-looking sections that were kind of like, man, that looks like a
Actually,
lot.
I had to ask him because I'm like, this dude running the jackhammer is going way too deep. Way down there. But that's what they do. They
Yep.
they chip it, rough it way up, and then there's stuff that goes on, and then other stuff that goes on, and then the final stuff goes on.
Well, besides
It actually
that, you're
goes
feeling
on,
pretty good.
it
how
goes
it's
on
been
gray
going.
and dries white, just in case anybody was wondering.
Cool. All right, thanks. Al?
A couple of things I have to brag. I am a grandfather, number 11, as of last week.
All clap.
So we will have a personnel committee the end of this month. So I don't know if you guys have plans, please let me know, but we do have a personnel committee that we need to have, so. And then we have had a request for a speed study on 7th Street coming through town. We did check with the city engineer and the traffic engineer within their office. Because 7th Street is scheduled for reconstruction, which will significantly change the character of the roadway, it is not recommended that we do a speed study now because we're changing it. And all of the factors that go into calculating what that speed should be will change a year from now, or in '28 when we do that project. But we do have that request in front of us where we understand, we've had people commenting on speed on the roadway. The speed on 7th Street is 55 past the roundabout from east to west. So from County Road 3
The town.
to, well, past the intermediate school
To the tree farm.
to the tree farm, it is 55 until you see the 30-mile-an-hour zone. Should it be? We're not going to try and answer that. That's just what it is currently. And in order to change it, you cannot arbitrarily go out and change it. There are things that come into play to say, you know, this is why we're changing it. Here are the warrants, the reason for changing it, and the construction of the roadway. And quite honestly, I don't think it's going to change even if you do the study, based on what's currently there.
I think the best approach is for when we do the design of the road, it'd be designed for a 30-mile-an-hour road or whatever we're going for. He's looking at me like that's too slow. I really don't. But, you know, maybe, okay, 35 if you're going to be, but we know if you design it for 35, they'll go 50.
Yeah, and that's exactly the response we got is design the roadway for a slower speed.
And then you don't have to do the study because you designed it for that, and you can put that as opposed to.
That's our intent, is the
Yeah.
design will be set, we'll design according to the speed.
Right. But
No, actually, you narrow it down and do some other things, like if you look at
We're gonna be widening it.
60, no, then it's a faster roadway.
It's gonna probably have a center turn lane on it.
Well, yeah, but that's different. 65th Street in Rochester, that's
So you have
designed
to
for
plan
30.
for the north development as well, so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
that's a good move.
Well, yeah, but yeah, I mean, if you look at 65th Street in Rochester, that was designed for 30. That's the reason it's posted 30. Well, you can go a lot faster on it, but it's designed for it, and you get a ticket if you get caught by the Rochester police going it, because they patrol it really heavily for some reason.
Do you know this from experience?
I have not gotten the ticket. I almost did. I had a discussion with this traffic engineer about that speed.
So, commentary, because you mentioned 65th Street, 50th Avenue looks the same to me, but it's 45. I don't
Yep.
know the difference. But aside from that, that was our request. We want to make sure that the council's aware that we received the request. The individual wrote a very well-informed email and was very professional about how he presented it. I appreciate that, but he does deserve the attention of the council, and I wanted to bring it to your attention and say, this is why we don't think it's a good idea, and to your point, I think it's going to be addressed in the imminent future anyway.
Yep.
And just as a caveat to that is we did have the traffic engineer look at it based on the criteria that's in a traffic study, and with the crash data, the intersection controls and anything like that, he said we can do a traffic study, but based on those few criterias, he didn't feel like it was gonna meet any warrants to change the, prior to us designing and reconstructing the road.
All right,
That's good.
okay, gotta do that. All right.
Yep.
Anything else, Al?
That's it?
Kelly, anything? Greta, anything? Yay, busy next few days.
Coming in hot.
All right.
Okay.
Motion,
Motion to close the open session and go to closed session.
Should it?
That, you got a second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Open session closed, closed session open.
Not yet, we gotta wait
Oh,
till,
okay, yeah,
no.
yeah.
Gotta wait till
Right, we gotta
everybody
clear
gets
everybody
out,
out.
and then we gotta close all the doors.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.